It is on. And if you know, you know. And if you know Errol Spence, he ain't shy to state his opinion. So obviously both fighters, Errol and Shawn Porter, aren't much of a trash talkers. However, they weren't holding back during their press conference. Now, who won the trash talk between the two? Obviously Errol Spence. And I will state my opinion, but support it with facts. Because like I said, either fighter, either one could come out and say, oh, I could beat Godzilla. But at the end of the day, if it ain't a fact, then it don't matter. You know what I mean? So the trash talk was funny. It was entertaining. Errol Spence, you could tell he ain't shy anymore to state his opinion. His personality came out. You could tell a lot of stuff that Shawn Porter and his dad that they've been saying in the media been getting to Errol Spence, and he couldn't wait to expose some of them things. Now, they started by giving each other credit. Shawn was saying that Errol had a great performance against Mikey, and then Errol said that the reason Shawn Porter have a tough fight with Ugas is that Ugas is really a great fighter and one of the top welterweights. In my opinion, he the fourth best welterweight in the division. It's Errol, then it's Terrence, then it's Pacquiao, and then Ugas, in my opinion. And I will still put Keith Thurman number 5 because he beat Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter. Now, things got hot when Shawn Porter started saying that the arena will be packed because of him, that he will do better numbers than Mikey did versus Errol, and that he's a big name. And obviously, he was responding to Errol's previous comments that he made when he stated that Shawn Porter can't sell a family dinner. So that still bothers Shawn Porter. And Porter is feeling like why Errol has to bring up the fact that I can't sell a family dinner out. Why he has to bring up the fact that I was ducking him. And he's bothered by that. But he got to keep in mind the reason Errol Spence is going hard at him because he was saying that Errol was jealous of him. So that's why Errol came out and stated all those things. You know, let's not forget what Shawn Porter said at first, and Errol was just responding. But then, obviously, Errol Spence was telling him why you haven't fought in your hometown and this and that. So at the end of the day, bonus points go to Errol because, hate or love it, Errol Spence is stating facts, not opinions. So the trash talk, obviously, he takes the W all day. And Errol says slick things that, you know, gets to his opponents and trigger them. And that's why Shawn Porter was coming out of his element. And every time Shawn Porter says, what time is it? Showtime. Well, guess what? You ain't fighting on Showtime anymore. And every time he says that, he ended up losing for some reason. When he did that versus Kell Brook, he ended up losing to Kell Brook. So he's probably better off not bringing up what time is it anymore. It's time for him to bring a new watch because it's Errol Spence time, in my opinion. And Errol's ready to shine, especially after what happened to Keith Thurman. I know he's so upset because he's looking at that fight like, man, I should have been the guy that took Keith Thurman. Oh, but he was afraid to let it go. To me, you know what I mean? That's just how Errol Spence feels. So he was really bothered by the fact that Keith Thurman lost, and he finna let it all out on Shawn Porter. And then obviously Shawn Porter was saying that he ain't Mikey Garcia and he has a heart to give, this and that. And that's when Errol Spence responded to him by saying, people thought you lost to Ugas. Every time you step up, you lose. Most of your fights are very close fights. And Shawn Porter responded by saying, can you box? And that's when Errol let him know, shit, try to box with me, I'll put you on your ass. And then he asked him the same question again. Can you box, Errol? And I'm like, bro, like, he just proved that he could box against Mikey Garcia by boxing the boxer. So what's your point, Shawn Porter? But Errol's basically letting him know, I'm going to show you that I know how to box fight night. And Shawn Porter should know that he knows how to box because when they did this spar, I heard Errol Spence got the better of him, even though he haven't even turned pro at the time. He was going to the Olympics, and Shawn Porter was finna fight for a world title against Devin, and he actually looked great in that fight. And Errol Spence, with no pro experience, was schooling Shawn Porter in sparring, where they had to pull Errol Spence out. So Shawn Porter know what time it is. At the end of the day, his own trainers know, Barry Hunter, even Shawn Porter dad, Kenny Porter, they know because they seen Errol Spence and they even trained Errol Spence. And they saw him spar and they know that he's the truth for a reason. And Shawn Porter said that he wasn't finna preach, but he finna tell the truth. And he spoke his piece. So, like I said, I love the press conference. It was very intense. It was back and forth. I cannot wait for the face-to-face. They should definitely have one, and they most likely will have one. But it's finna be entertaining. I just hate the fact that Keith Thurman was ducking Errol, because the build-up and the lead-up to that fight will have been on a different scale when it comes to the trash talk and taking shots at each other. Because Errol, as much as people think he's a nice guy, from what I've seen, he's a guy who's funny without even being funny, man. I be watching his interviews and I be cracking up like I'm watching a comedian. And he has that straight face, like he's just talking. But like I said, it's the things he say is so catchy, you know what I mean? So he definitely has the it factor to be a superstar, and he has the skills and the talent to back it up. So Shawn Porter stated that he wants that fight to be an easy fight, and he will do everything in his skills and his power to make it an easy night. And Errol Spence promised the same thing, but he also promised the knockout. And he stated against Mikey, he wanted to show a different element in his game and show that he could box, because a lot of people think that he's just a one-dimensional fighter. And he proved to the world that he's not. That he actually has different gears, and he has plan A through Z. So against Shawn Porter, he promised a knockout. He promised an action-packed fight. He promised he will push the pace, and as his motto, man down, he promised to put Shawn Porter on his ass. So we'll see. I'm telling y'all, that fight is candidate of fight of the year. And Errol Spence, the difference between him and a Keith Thurman or him and a Danny Garcia that Shawn Porter already knows is that Errol Spence know how to fight in the inside, and he has great arm control, and in the inside he got great body positioning, where he positioned his body where you cannot punch him back. And in the meantime, he's still able to let off his shots and let shots go without smothering his shots like Shawn Porter, you know. And that takes a lot of skill and a lot of composure and a lot of med work and a lot of drills. So Errol Spence been putting in work, and man, I cannot wait for that fight. Like I said, the trash talk is on point. Errol Spence is not holding back, neither Shawn Porter. And I love the press conference. So drop y'all comments below what y'all think, how the press conference went, who y'all had winning the trash talk. Obviously, even a deaf person knows Errol Spence won the press conference as far as who won the trash talk. But at the end of the day, both Errol and Shawn Porter are good people, and we just want to see a good fight. But Errol promised, just like Shawn Porter's suit last night, that he was finna make him wave the white flag and surrender. Either he gonna put him on his ass, or Kenny Porter finna save him and throw the white towel. So we'll see. And at the end of the day, I believe after the fight that they gonna squash it. It's just the build up, and obviously both fighters got hatred for each other because they both want to win. And Errol mad at Shawn Porter because he been avoiding him, and it ain't no secret. Obviously, Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman been avoiding Errol Spence the whole time. And yes, he is the money man in the division. He packed a 47,000 arena his last fight, sold 400,000 pay-per-views. That's something Shawn Porter couldn't do with a Keith Thurman and with a Danny Garcia. And both of them guys, you could probably say they bigger names than Mikey Garcia. So obviously Errol Spence is on pay-per-view again because he the one headlining the pay-per-view. You know, if it wasn't for him, that fight wouldn't be on pay-per-view. It ain't because of Shawn Porter the fight is on pay-per-view. We can all agree on that. When Errol Spence fights Keith Thurman, if Keith Thurman actually didn't lose, that fight would have been on pay-per-view because of Errol Spence. If Errol Spence fight Terrence Crawford, that fight finna be on pay-per-view because of Errol Spence. So you can't deny the fact that Errol Spence is the new cash cow in the division. Hate or love it, y'all gotta face the truth, and the truth is Errol Spence. So subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't listen to these casual ass fans. And follow my man Lantoon Boxing for the funniest boxing memes. And subscribe to my channel at Aki TV and click on the notification bell to get notified when we go live. Peace, and we outie, and to be continued on the next episode of Aki TV.